We'd been adventuring in the North Island of New Zealand for only about a week. And after a chill few days around Rotorua and Taupo, we thought we'd pick up the pace a bit. We head to Waitomo, which is a region famous for not what is on the surface, but below. Deep beneath the green hills lies a world that feels untouched by time, hidden and shaped by water, history, and myth. We found ourselves crawling through tunnels, floating down subterranean rivers, staring at glowing creatures, and then somehow ending on a beach after a delayed flight. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's see what these caves are all about.
What'd you say? Expansive?
Yeah, it just keeps going.
Beautiful drive.
I cannot believe there is an escape camper van here. What a throwback. When we first started really traveling together, we took a break from work and rented an escape camper van for a couple months. We didn't really know what we were doing, but we wanted to explore some of the most beautiful nature that the US had to offer before we moved to another country. We drove from the East Coast to the West, hitting many national parks along the way. And every so often, I remember those fond memories of waking up in the van to different gorgeous sceneries each day. We have plans to do another long van trip in the future. But back to the video. We arrived at the Blackwater Rafting Company, one of the more popular tour companies here in Waitomo. There are several different ways to explore the caves: walking, on a boat, caving, abseiling, or even tubing. We ended up deciding to split up, with Mel and her sister going on the Black Labyrinth experience, where they would cave, jump over waterfalls, and tube on the underground rivers. More on that experience in a bit. Mel's mom and I, on the other hand, we decided to explore the Ruakuri Caves on foot. According to Maori legend, the caves were discovered about 500 years ago by a young hunter. He stumbled upon the cave entrance, but he wasn't alone. Apparently there was a pack of dogs guarding the entrance, and that's actually where the name originated from. Rua, meaning den, and kuri, meaning dogs. Ruakuri Caves, a den of dogs. Originally, this cave was used for tourism and open to the public until a land dispute in the 1980s, when a Maori landowner brought their case to the Waitangi Tribunal, producing a deed passed down by their ancestors that said that they own from the heavens into the earth. Afterwards, it has been co-managed by local iwi, dock, and tourism entities to make sure that there is respect for both ecological protection and sacred land. They installed this awesome spiral ramp, creating a new entrance so that they could avoid using the original, which was Wahi Tapu. Fun fact, this ramp makes this cave the only wheelchair-accessible cave in the southern hemisphere, or at least so we're told. Waitomo actually means wai for water and tomo for hole or entrance, and that is indicative of the hundreds of caves in this region. But what's easy to miss is all of this used to be underwater. Millions of years ago, this land sat beneath the sea, emphasized by the fossilized oysters and ancient shells embedded in the cave walls, alluding to the ancient seabed slowly carved out by this water over time. As quiet as some parts of the cave may seem, they are alive with life and movement. Underground rivers and waterfalls still flow through the limestone, carving tunnels and chambers. Over thousands of years, dripping mineral-rich water have sculpted strange formations, towering stalactites, delicate cave popcorn, and rippling curtains of rock that look like frozen waves. And in the darkness lives eels, weta, and the star of the show, glowworms. That's what you guys all came here for, right? These tiny bioluminescent larvae use their glow to lure prey into sticky threads they drop from cave ceilings, creating a night sky illusion underground. A quick public service announcement: for those planning on visiting, the glowworms are awesome and fascinating, but they look like stars in the night sky. So don't buy too much into the incredible pictures some photographers are able to take. Also, many tours don't allow photography, as the environment is quite sensitive. So be sure to check beforehand if you want to take some pictures. There is so much more to learn about the caves, but I'll save that for another time, or for those who choose to visit to discover it themselves. But it is truly magical. Being in complete darkness, surrounded by glowing blue ceilings, echoing waterfalls, and the feeling of being in a place older than memory. I can't recommend it enough. Now, about blackwater rafting.
Hold on! You weren't even there.
Was there another time?
Yeah, but this time is about my experience with my little sister. We can talk about you another time.
Fair, I do talk a lot.
You've gotten to know future Erik, but now, future Melissa's along for the ride. Alright, so what were you saying? Blackwater rafting. While Erik and my mom were using their legs the old-fashioned way, my sister Liz and I were spelunking through caves and floating down river rapids. Now, when I say floating, I don't mean like a lazy river. No. We were jumping off cliffs, stumbling over rocks, and floating through the frigid water in pitch darkness. And it was awesome. Liz would tell you it was pretty cold. Even with the wetsuits, it chilled us to the bones, just with unbearability. And we did this activity during the dead of summer. Due to all of the insulation and the low airflow, lack of sunlight, the water temperature in the cave doesn't really change that much throughout the year. Also, those wetsuits are not made for women. They did not fit us properly in the crotch area, but we made it work. There isn't a lot online about what to expect. We think intentionally so that you get to be surprised by the experience. So go ahead and skip ahead a little if you don't want to be spoiled. But if you're like me and you like to know a little bit about what to expect before you go, let me go ahead and walk you through a few things about our experience. Essentially, you show up and go get changed into wetsuits, which is an experience in and of itself trying to get the right size. Most of us wore bikinis or swimsuits underneath, but regardless, make sure you have something dry to change into when you get back. Store your stuff in a locker, grab some boots and a helmet, and off you go. A bus takes you to a river where you practice jumping backwards into your tube, which, yes, is the most important skill you'll need to practice on this trip. After some practice, it's on to the caves. It's dark, it's cold, it's wet, but there are stalagmites and stalactites galore. You have to be careful to duck so you don't hit them with your helmet, and you navigate over unstable rocks and past wetabugs welcoming you into their home. You jump into the water just like you did in the river and probably making a really cool face, and the water moves you down to where your group collects. You hold onto the feet of the person behind you, and the person in front of you holds onto yours, just like you practiced, making a human caterpillar that journeys through the caves, looking up to see the faint blue glow of glowworms. The guides tell you all about them and let you enjoy the view. What the guides don't tell you about are the eels in the river, which was terrifying to learn after we'd left the river, only to later realize that the New Zealand eels aren't the scary electric variety I came to associate with eels. But instead, they're a pretty docile tuna, which rarely bites and only when it's feeling particularly threatened. There are several sections of jumps and climbing through the cave, which to Erik and I felt like an actual adventure. A couple of times you jump down where a waterfall is, and these are typically about a meter or so off the ground, and you have to do it backwards into your tube. Though, to be fair, no one in our group found that too challenging. If there's extra time, they take you spelunking through some of the smaller caves where you literally have to crawl to get through. If not, you aren't missing out, because it's a complete journey all on its own. After a final stretch of glowworms littering the cave ceiling, you're back outside and on the bus to the showers. Be sure you've brought your toiletries down with you so you can have a refreshing shower and a change of clothes to get warmed up in. They've got free warm soup and your pictures for sale, so enjoy those, have a good chat with your guides or group mates, and then off you go. If you're claustrophobic, hate being cold, or don't think you're physically fit enough to stumble over rocks or jump off cliffs, with help and guidance, then this might not be for you. But keep in mind that you don't have to be really physically fit, just confident. So don't let it deter you as long as you're prepared for an adventure. Apparently very young children and folks as old as 70 have done the tour, so it's likely that you could too. And if you wear contacts like me, definitely wear those instead of your glasses. How was that, Erik? Good enough?
Good enough. This was one of my favorite experiences. But if you are keen on seeing the glowworms or exploring caves and you can't make it to Waitomo, there are experiences near and far. Spellbound is another experience close by that has a full walking and boating section. There are also glowworm caves in Te Anau on the South Island near the Milford Sound, if you happen to be going there. Lastly, there are a bunch of places where you can actually see the glowworms outside of a cave in forests, like in the Hokitika glowworm dell on the west coast of the South Island, or Lake McLaren in the Bay of Plenty. Afterwards, the girls were pooped and we had a flight to catch in the morning, so we grabbed some dinner in the aptly named Thirsty Weta, recommended by our guides, and headed back to Auckland for the night. But something happened that made us have an unexpected but very welcome beach day. Sometimes things like this happen that are serendipitous. We got to check out a beachier part of Auckland, not to mention we were able to get our car checked out so we could get our work done for our WAF when we got back. How's the water?
Feels really good.
We're in the North Shore.
We've been running around, did a small hike. It was very hot, but it was totally worth the view. It was very short, super short, but just in the sun. Now we are here at the water. Feels really nice and refreshing. And Erik did confirm that it's salty. We're killing time because our flight was delayed. So we're gonna get into Melbourne a lot later than we thought, which is too bad. They delayed our flight for 5 hours and 40 minutes. So we were supposed to get our flight to Melbourne here at 1:50, and we got an email that the flight is delayed until 7:30. Erik and I still have to take the car to the panel beaters to get them to check it out and see if they can fix it when we get back from Australia, but now we have a lot of time to kill and we have some questions. Time to do good cop, bad cop. Who do you think is good cop and who do you think is bad cop?
But making the most of it.
But making the most of it, definitely.
Check out this boat behind you.
Tell us about this hack.
Erik's taught me, but pretty much you just take a picture of your animal or plant, and then you hit the little I button in camera roll under your photo, and it'll look it up for you.
What do we got here?
A New Zealand flax.
What does that mean?
I don't know, it's a flexo.
Woo! Show us how it's done. It looks fun. Wow!
You can see the sun got to me. No sunscreen today. But I am so ready for this shower before I get on this flight. Just so sweaty. Phew! Finally on the plane and off to Melbourne.
Where are we headed, you ask?
We have a short trip planned to Australia because our family did fly in from the other side of the world.
We're starting with the Australian Open.
And then some exploration of northern Australia's rainforests. And of course, the Great Barrier Reef. We want to give a big thank you to everyone who watched the video. If you enjoyed it, please give us a like and subscribe to join us on our next adventure.
See you guys there.